Picture this: the roar of a bloodthirsty crowd, the glint of steel under the blazing sun, and the scent of sweat, dust, and blood hanging heavy in the air. Men, women, and sometimes children gather to witness the ultimate spectacle of life and death, the Roman gladiators. Imagine standing in the Colosseum surrounded by cheering spectators as men fight for their lives, knowing that one mistake could mean a gruesome death and that survival is never guaranteed. Gladiators were more than mere fighters. They were symbols of power, spectacle, and societal control in ancient Rome. From the first recorded games in 264 BCE to the height of the Roman Empire, these men were trained from youth in special schools called ludi, often slaves or prisoners of war, yet some volunteered for fame and fortune. They endured grueling training, lived under strict rules, and faced unimaginable danger, fighting not only each other but wild animals and sometimes condemned criminals. The Roman populace craved the drama and violence, using these spectacles to distract from political unrest, demonstrate the emperor's power, and enforce societal hierarchies. Behind the grandeur of the arenas lay a darker reality. Betrayal, exploitation, and death lurked around every corner, reminding us that in Rome, blood was both entertainment and currency. These stories of courage, survival, and ultimate demise reveal a world where life was fragile, death was inevitable, and the human spirit was tested to its limits. Where are you watching from, and what time is it right now? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoy dark history stories like this, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your feedback in the comments. Imagine stepping into the heart of a Roman ludus, where the air hangs heavy with the smell of sweat, blood, and leather, mingling with the dust kicked up by relentless feet. Young men arrive from all corners of the empire, some stolen from their families as children, others sold into slavery or condemned for minor crimes, all facing a life stripped of freedom and personal identity. Each day is governed by an unyielding routine, waking before dawn, enduring hours of grueling physical training, consuming only enough to sustain the body without slowing agility, and resting for barely an hour before the cycle begins again. Every stance, every swing, every feint is drilled into muscle memory, honed until reflex replaces thought, because in the arena, hesitation is fatal. Those who falter are punished with lashings, public humiliation, or deprivation, reinforcing the ever-present shadow of fear. Those who excel may earn fleeting approval or slightly better rations, but no one is ever truly safe. Imagine a Thracian boy, torn from the familiarity of his village, forced to mirror the movements of hardened veterans, hands blistered, muscles screaming, while the instructors bark commands and crack whips with precision. Each man in the ludus is a living experiment, a combination of physical strength, endurance, and psychological fortitude, molded under conditions designed to produce efficiency, obedience, and survival instinct. The gladiators are not merely combatants, they are performers in a deadly theatre, where each match is a spectacle, and every drop of blood serves as both narrative and warning. Matches are meticulously arranged, opponents chosen for contrast in size, weapon, and style, to ensure maximum drama and engagement for the audience. The Roman elite watches eagerly, placing fortunes on outcomes, reveling in skill and cruelty alike, while the common populace cheers, jeers, and gasps in the sand-strewn arena. Yet the spectacle is only half the danger. Lions, tigers, and leopards, imported from distant provinces, provide a terror that is raw, wild, and unpredictable. Group combats, or munera, magnify risk, forcing gladiators to balance strategy, instinct, and adaptability while under the ever-present pressure of spectators. Many gladiators carry tattoos or brands marking them as property, a permanent reminder that they are owned and expendable. Betrayal is never far. Allies may strike secretly for patron favor, trainers may manipulate matches for profit or prestige, and patrons may intervene to ensure political or financial outcomes. Imagine the psychological tension of knowing that even skill cannot guarantee survival, that each fight is as much a test of mental fortitude as of physical prowess. Every heartbeat, every breath, every flick of the wrist is measured, calculated, and tested under scrutiny, where a single mistake can end life instantly. The Colosseum itself is more than a structure. It is a crucible where courage and fear collide, and where emperors assert power over life and death. Here, morality is optional, mercy is rare, and the human body becomes both weapon and spectacle. Historians have noted that the games reinforced Roman social hierarchies, vividly displaying the power of the state while demonstrating the expendability of individual lives for the amusement of the masses. Friendships forged in the ludus could shatter instantly under the glare of sand and sun, and rivalries simmering quietly in dormitories and training halls erupted violently when stakes were life and death. Imagine standing before a seasoned opponent or facing a wild beast, calculating the risks, reading the subtle cues of the crowd, and maintaining a razor-sharp focus on both survival and performance. Some gladiators became legends, their victories immortalized in inscriptions and frescoes, yet their lives remained confined to the relentless discipline of the ludus and the brutal spectacle of the arena. Death is omnipresent. It lurks in every swing of a sword, in every misjudged strike, in infection, and in betrayal. Ancient medical texts describe horrific wounds, gangrene, amputations, and long recoveries endured by survivors, emphasizing the brutality hidden behind the celebrated triumphs. Yet some endure, driven by the hope of fame, wealth, or the rare opportunity for freedom. Imagine the internal calculus of a young fighter, balancing courage against fear, pride against survival instinct, ambition against instinctive terror, all while sweat and blood mingle with sand beneath his feet. Gladiatorial combat mirrors the Roman obsession with power, spectacle, and human vulnerability. Spectators cheer, politicians manipulate, and emperors assert authority, while gladiators' lives are risked, commodified, and displayed as instruments of entertainment. Blood becomes more than mere pigment. It becomes currency, spectacle, and proof of human fragility under the weight of empire. Even outside the arena, the implications of gladiatorial combat reverberate. Each match is a statement of authority, a tool for political maneuvering, and a reminder of the control the emperor holds over life itself. Victories are recorded, defeats punished, and narratives passed down to reinforce social norms and historical memory. Survivors return to the ludus bearing visible and invisible scars, reminders of battles fought, betrayals endured, and life narrowly preserved against near-impossible odds. Camaraderie occasionally blossoms amid the brutality, mentorship, bonds formed in shared hardship, fleeting trust, all offering brief reprieve from the ever-present threat of death. Each day in the ludus, each fight in the arena, each decision of courage or treachery contributes to a story far larger than the individual, a story of Rome, itself, its power, its obsession with spectacle, and the fragility of human life under imperial rule. Training itself is a crucible of psychological warfare. Gladiators must anticipate deception both from human opponents and from orchestrated matches. Friends may secretly be enemies, and each encounter demands vigilance, strategy, and adaptation. Imagine facing a taller, stronger opponent with the same skill set as yourself, while also aware that a trap may be set, that a rival may act with treachery, and that the emperor and his advisors may favor a certain outcome for political reasons. The mental strain is relentless. Every muscle in the body responds, yet the mind must constantly analyze, predict, and calculate, balancing instinct with deliberate choice. These young men, though physically trained, carry the psychological burden of knowing that every match may be their last, that every gesture can be interpreted as courage or weakness, and that the audience, ever hungry for spectacle, may demand a fatal mistake. Gladiatorial combat is also an intricate dance with death itself. Facing wild beasts is a lesson in unpredictability. Lions with crushing jaws, tigers with unmatched agility, bears with lethal claws, all force gladiators to react beyond training, to rely on intuition and split-second decision-making. Survival requires not only skill but also the ability to predict animal behavior, anticipate opponent strategies, and manage the chaos of multiple combatants in a single arena. Imagine the tension of engaging a fellow gladiator while aware that a beast lurks nearby, that the crowd watches with gleeful anticipation, and that an emperor may reward or condemn with a mere gesture. Each decision, each feint, and each strike carries weight far beyond the immediate physical confrontation. The social and political dimensions of the games add yet another layer of peril. Emperors, senators, and elite patrons manipulate outcomes to reinforce loyalty, punish dissent, or assert dominance. Spectators may influence decisions with gestures or calls for mercy, turning the crowd into an unpredictable factor in the gladiator's fate. Friendships, rivalries, and alliances are fluid, as survival sometimes demands betrayal, and loyalty can be punished. Imagine navigating this treacherous landscape, knowing that a single misstep, a poorly timed trust, or a misread signal could lead to death while the world watches. Injuries and scars are part of a gladiator's identity. Ancient accounts describe gruesome wounds, slow recoveries, and permanent disabilities that mark survivors physically and psychologically. Yet the pursuit of fame, wealth, or freedom drives many to endure these hardships repeatedly. Each successful combat is a delicate balance of chance, skill, and endurance, where survival is never guaranteed, and victory often comes at tremendous cost. The arena's spectacle is mirrored in daily life within the ludus. Training sessions, punishments, and matches are orchestrated with precision to instill discipline, toughness, and obedience. Gladiators learn not only to fight but to perform under pressure, to read subtle cues from opponents, trainers, and spectators, and to maintain focus despite fear. Imagine the young recruit, muscles aching, mind sharp, aware that his every action may be judged, applauded, or punished. Each day in the ludus is a rehearsal for the inevitable confrontation in the Colosseum, where skill, strategy, courage, and luck collide in the deadly spectacle that captivates Rome. Even as camaraderie develops, trust is fragile. Allies may become enemies. Mentorships may shift with political winds. Bonds are tested by training, matches, and orchestrated betrayals. Yet in the crucible of the ludus, some friendships endure, forged in shared struggle, fleeting but vital, providing glimpses of humanity in a brutal world. These relationships offer momentary solace, but never immunity from the arena's dangers. The psychological demands on gladiators are profound. Standing in the Colosseum, heart racing, senses sharpened, the roar of thousands in the stands, every eye judging each motion, the threat of death palpable, one realizes that survival is not only physical but also mental. Anticipating attacks, reading crowds, calculating reactions, all under the gaze of emperors and nobles, requires extraordinary focus. Even the most skilled fighter may fall to a combination of misfortune, cunning opponent, or strategic error, illustrating the razor-thin margin between glory and death. The allure of fame and potential freedom drives men to accept this life despite knowing its dangers. Legendary gladiators emerge from this crucible, their exploits immortalized in inscriptions, mosaics, and oral traditions. Yet even the most celebrated are never free from the daily demands of training, the psychological strain of combat, or the looming specter of death. Each man is bound to a life where skill, chance, and favor dictate fate, and where human dignity is constantly weighed against the hunger for spectacle. As the sun rises over the Colosseum, the arena awakens not with life, but with anticipation of death, and the gladiators, having survived years of training, feel the familiar weight of inevitability. Each man steps into the sand knowing the crowd's roar could turn from adoration to bloodthirsty frenzy in a heartbeat. The games are more than a test of physical skill. They are an intricate performance where courage, deception, and psychological resilience must intertwine flawlessly. Imagine a gladiator, armored but weary, gripping his sword with blistered hands, hearing to you. He chants an applause of thousands above, each voice carrying potential judgment. This is no ordinary fight. Each strike, parry, and feint is scrutinized not just for survival, but for the entertainment of the empire, where emperors display their power through the lives of men who are expendable. Political manipulation extends into every match. Senators, magistrates, and elite patrons influence who lives and who dies, sometimes bribing rivals, sometimes instructing referees to enforce a particular outcome. Imagine the subtle tension as a gladiator notices a supposed ally hesitating, a hesitation that could be life or death and yet is not accidental. Treachery is a tool as much as the sword. Trust is a luxury, rarely afforded. Many gladiators navigate these treacherous social currents in addition to facing human and animal adversaries. A misjudged gesture, a misplaced glance, or a false step could seal fate before the first drop of blood is spilled. And yet, the opportunity for fame and fortune, the allure of glory, pushes them forward. Even amid fear, hope, and ambition drive men to endure agony and defy the odds, becoming legends whose names echo in inscriptions, stories, and public memory. Encounters with wild beasts are a spectacle of calculated terror. Lions with crushing jaws, tigers with lightning speed, and bears with claws sharp enough to rip flesh from bone demand split-second reactions, instinct, and courage. Gladiators are forced to fight not only skillfully but imaginatively, improvising maneuvers and predicting animal behavior while simultaneously defending against human opponents. Imagine the split-second decision to dodge a lion's swipe, then immediately parry a sword thrust, all while calculating stamina, positioning, and the potential influence of crowd reactions. Survival depends on a combination of training, adaptability, and luck. A single misstep may mean death, while a single brilliant maneuver can earn temporary fame, favor, or even freedom. The arena becomes a theater where each combatant's intellect is as tested as their strength, and where the audience revels in the tension between life and death. The psychological toll is immense. Gladiators must compartmentalize fear, pain, and anticipation, focusing on split-second decisions under intense scrutiny. Even after surviving, memories of fallen comrades, brutal attacks, and near escapes linger. Imagine a survivor returning to the ludus, observing new recruits learning the same rituals, realizing that each will face the same horrors and that camaraderie may be shattered by circumstance, betrayal, or sheer luck. Pain is constant, muscles ache, wounds fester, and the mind is forever haunted by the unpredictability of human cruelty and animal ferocity. Ancient accounts tell of gladiators suffering lasting psychological trauma despite public admiration and occasional rewards. Their lives are an intersection of survival, spectacle, and politics, with the delicate balance between respect and terror maintained by thousands of spectators watching every action. Political and social influence pervades even these moments. Emperors may grant favor to certain gladiators, ensuring survival or orchestrating dramatic defeats to display dominance. Senators may gamble fortunes on outcomes or manipulate matches to favor political allies. Even the crowd exerts influence. Gestures, cheers, and chants may sway decisions about life and death. Imagine the mental acuity required to process all these signals while remaining focused on immediate combat, knowing that every action carries potential consequences far beyond personal survival. The games are thus a nexus of power, violence, and spectacle, reflecting the broader societal hierarchy. Archies and values of Rome. Friendships and rivalries are forged in the crucible of training and combat, yet these bonds are fragile. Allies may secretly conspire against each other, friendships tested by opportunity, fear, and ambition. The psychological strain of balancing trust and suspicion weighs heavily, and every interaction is layered with potential danger. Imagine walking into the arena knowing that your closest comrade might betray you if bribed or coerced, forcing the gladiator to constantly evaluate the loyalties around him. These dynamics add tension and unpredictability, ensuring that no match is purely physical, but also a test of strategy, insight, and cunning. Beyond human opponents, survival also depends on environmental mastery. Gladiators must adapt to the sand, weather, and architectural nuances of the Colosseum. Uneven terrain, sunlight blinding the eyes, or moisture from recent rain can shift the balance of combat instantly. Animal behavior, opponent strategy, and crowd influence all converge, requiring focus, intuition, and flexibility. The physical challenge is only one part of the equation. The mental and emotional demands are equally brutal. Each decision is high stakes, each reaction potentially the difference between life and death, and each victory or defeat is recorded, remembered, and interpreted by a society fascinated with power, spectacle, and human fragility. History reveals the paradox of the gladiators' lives. While celebrated for bravery, skill, and endurance, they remain enslaved, controlled, and commodified. Victory may bring temporary rewards, fleeting fame, or even freedom, but it comes at the cost of constant danger, both physical and political. Imagine the mind of a gladiator calculating whether risking a fatal maneuver could earn favor from an emperor, impress a patron, or sway the crowd, knowing that the next day might bring another match, another betrayal, another confrontation with death. The thrill of potential glory and the terror of imminent demise coexist, shaping men who can endure pain, master strategy, and confront fear with remarkable composure. The spectacle of combat also serves a social function, reinforcing Roman hierarchies and demonstrating the empire's might. Gladiators embody both fear and fascination, showcasing the ability of the state to command life and death. Crowds cheer, politicians manipulate, and emperors display authority, while individual men become instruments of spectacle. Blood spilled in the arena is both literal and symbolic, a reminder that survival is fragile and life can be exchanged for entertainment. Imagine a young recruit witnessing the rise and fall of veteran gladiators, seeing death meted out according to favor, strategy, or political calculus, internalizing lessons about courage, betrayal, and the impermanence of human life. The combination of skill, psychological fortitude, and social awareness defines survival. Each duel, each confrontation with an animal, each carefully choreographed match tests not only the body but the mind and spirit. Imagine maintaining acute awareness of every movement in the arena while under intense physical strain, while simultaneously reading social cues, political signals, and crowd reactions. The gladiator's existence is a constant balancing act, endurance against fear, loyalty against betrayal, skill against chance, all under relentless observation. Even as some gladiators achieve legendary status, their lives remain tethered to the demands of the arena and the ludus. They endure pain, witness betrayal, and navigate complex social hierarchies daily. Some may be immortalized in art or history, but the majority suffer in anonymity, the ire, blood, and sacrifice fueling public spectacle and political gain. Survival, fame, and freedom are intertwined with risk, requiring resilience, intelligence, and a mastery of both physical and psychological combat. The arena teaches harsh lessons about trust, fear, and mortality. Gladiators confront death repeatedly, adapt to unpredictable circumstances, and navigate treacherous social currents, all while performing for an audience that revels in both skill and suffering. Friendships are tentative, rivalries dangerous, and alliances fragile. Yet these connections are necessary for survival. Imagine relying on a comrade in a duel against a beast, only to realize that loyalty may be swayed by bribes or threats, making every interaction potentially fatal. This interplay of trust, deception, and strategy is as vital as combat skill itself. Finally, the legacy of gladiators is a testament to human resilience and adaptation. Despite the brutality, uncertainty, and political manipulation, many endure, some achieve fame, and a few even gain freedom. Each life is a narrative of courage, endurance, intelligence, and adaptability, reflecting both the perils of the arena and the complex social fabric of Rome. The Colosseum is thus more than a battlefield. It is a theatre where the fragility and strength of human life are displayed for all to witness, reminding us that even in the harshest conditions, survival, ingenuity, and determination can carve out a legacy that outlives the sands of the arena. The final reflection of the gladiator's story is a meditation on courage, endurance, and the human spirit under relentless adversity. Imagine standing in the Colosseum today, centuries after the last battle, feeling the echo of countless struggles that took place upon that sand, understanding the extreme conditions under which men lived and fought. Every scar, every brand, every tale of triumph or betrayal speaks to the incredible psychological and physical resilience required to survive in a society that treated human life as expendable entertainment. These men were more than warriors. They were symbols of discipline, perseverance, and strategic intelligence, enduring unimaginable hardship for the fleeting rewards of fame, fortune, or the rarest prize, freedom. Gladiatorial combat also teaches a lesson about society itself. The Roman Empire showcased power, hierarchy, and control through the games, demonstrating that entertainment and politics were intertwined, and that human suffering could be manipulated for social and political gain. Spectators witnessed not just fights, but the demonstration of authority, the shaping of public perception, and the reinforcement of social norms. In this light, the arena becomes both a literal and symbolic space, reflecting the extremes of human behavior under pressure, where courage, treachery, loyalty, and fear coexisted in a complex interplay. For modern audiences, the story of Gladiators resonates because it embodies universal themes: survival against overwhelming odds, the tension between trust and betrayal, and the pursuit of personal excellence under constant threat. These narratives inspire awe, provoke reflection, and challenge us to consider how far humans will go to achieve recognition, security, and agency, even when the stakes are life and death. The psychological insight gained from these ancient practices offers a mirror to contemporary struggles, reminding us that courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it, and that endurance is as much a mental feat as a physical one. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon, like the video, and tell us in the comments which type of stories you'd like to see. Reflecting on these accounts, we are reminded that history is not merely a series of events, but a tapestry of human experiences, each shaped by choices, circumstances, and the relentless passage of time. The legacy of the gladiators persists not only in stone and ink, but in the lessons of resilience, strategy, and courage that continue to inspire generations, urging us to confront our own fears and challenges with a spirit as unyielding as those who once stood in the sand, swords in hand, facing death with unwavering resolve.